Oh my God, it's a bear market. Sell everything. Crypto, stocks, sell everything. Let me show you. It's a bear market because the S&P 500 is at its new all-time highs, and we should think it's a bear market. I don't get it. Like, why we're in a bear market if S&P 500 is now at its new all-time highs? Oh, look at this. The weekly close is actually at a new all-time high. Even last week's close was as a new all-time high. These are 2 weekly closes into a new all-time high. We broke down the pressure trend line, but okay. But we're not talking about the S&P 500, Pablo. We're talking about crypto. Crypto right now, Bitcoin. Just have a look at how bad the Bitcoin chart is right now, and we're about to break down because this is what we call a bear flag. Hey, look, I'm not going to argue with you because in my yesterday's video, in my video from 2 days ago, I've been telling you guys, hey, look, it's a bear flag, right? I'm the one who called this, right? And then since then, I've seen a bunch of guys call bear flags. They're saying this is a bear flag, and more are bear flag. They're saying, look, guys, look, here was a bear flag, right? See this? That's a bear flag. That's why we broke down. Boom, bear flag, flagpole, flag, boom, we broke down. And here was a bear flag. Right. Wow. Now I'm starting to see bear flags everywhere. Right. See, here was a bear flag, and now basically everywhere is a bear flag. So people are starting to get paranoid or panic, or maybe they're right. Maybe it's like, boom, bear flag, boom, bear flag, boom, bear flag. Bear flags are everywhere. Can we trust this? This episode, Pablo will take you through what happens in the next 3 to 6 months or 12 months. And how to protect yourself if this is a bear market. It could happen. It's like, some people say it's like 90% probability, 80%. I don't know if I'm in that camp. I still stay optimistic and a little bit more positive because let's have a look at this. This crash was the thank you to Mr. Trump, the Trump crash, right? The Trump crash. Could we call this a bear flag? Here, this point this area here, can we call this like a bear flag? Kind of. It's kind of a bear flag, right? You have the flagpole, the flag, and then boom. Not very regular, but yeah. Well, if not, then this is definitely a bear flag because you've had the flagpole, you've had the flag, and here's the breakdown, right? This is that not what we're seeing here? You've had the flagpole, you've had the flag, which is rising. Bear flags are rising. Bull flags tend to go down. See, flagpole, bull flag, and then boom, go up we go. Flagpole, flag, and then boom, up we go. Okay, so what can we learn from here? Is it necessarily time to panic yet? Should we just be panicking right now? Here's the thing, right? Here's the flagpole. Here's the bear flag. Yeah, we broke down, but how much further lower do we go? How much lower did we go? Here, what was this? What was this bottom here? This was low was 76.6K. What was the low here when it broke down, when the bear flag broke down? 74.4K. So it went 2.2K lower. So we broke down the bear flag, we went 2.2K lower. What about this? This was like a bull flag. And then we punched up, right? Flagpole, bull flag, and we punched up. How much higher did it go? On this day, the high was 123.2. On this day, it was 124. 24.5. In other words, 2.2K higher, right? So, yes, sometimes these bull flags do punch up. These bear flags do break down. But it might only go 2K lower. So what happens here? What if this bear flag breaks down and it goes boom, looks scary, right? Goes to like here, looks scary. What's the low here? What is the low on this day here? This low here was 80.5K. What if it goes 2.2, 2.3K lower, like what happened before, right? Then we would end up at 78.3K. 78.3K here, right? We would be like, dun, 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 bounce, boom, like this, and bottom, and up we go. That would be just enough to scare the Jesus out of everyone, the bejesus out of everyone. Boom, something like this. Boom, something like this, right? 78, and then boom, and up we go. And but what if a real bear market does happen? What are you going to do then, Pablo? Before I answer that question, first let's answer the question of which crypto exchange does Pablo He-Man use? Well, Pablo uses the exchange that's non-KYC. That means you don't need to show any ID. That means even the exchange can't see who you are. That's why, right, the IRS can't see you, the tax office can't see you, the exchange can't see you, the CIA, FBI, nobody can see you, right? So I made this great deal with them for folks who are just, new or old users, right? First time deposits and trades win up to 700 USDT futures bonus. And if you're an old timer, that's okay. Just sign up, use a new email. If you use a new email, remember the exchange can't even see who you are. So they'll also give you the first time deposit and trades bonuses, right? Limited time only, folks. Let's jump on this. And if you're watching this on YouTube right now, then the link is in the description below. The link is in the description below. But if you're watching on YouTube, that's okay. Because we're on this platform or any other platform, that's okay. Just click on my profile page and there's my link tree or stand link. We click on that and it's the first deal that pops up because this is a great deal. Okay, let's get back to the markets, folks. But remember, this deal is only available on the Pablo He-Man link, only on the Pablo link. And what I was talking about before is that these kind of bear flags could break down, right? And from where we are, that could be another 10K drop. We're at 89K, could go to 78K, 11K drop from here. It's pretty bad if you're on a leverage position right here. But it may not be so bad that we could only go down 2K. Of course, like usually bear flags could go down like boom, like easily go past 74K, could stop at this 66K area. It could be really bad. But as we've seen, sometimes it goes doing like to here and then bounces, right? So for example, here's another example on ETH. What happens on ETH when these sort of bear flags or bull flags happen? So this is ETH, for example. And right now, we're on a weekly chart. It's not quite a bear flag. These lines are not parallel to here. Not quite. But look, as we've seen here, we could probably call this a bull flag. Boom. It worked pretty well. Bear flag. Boom. Worked out pretty well. You might call this, in fact, a bear pennant, which are just as famous as bear flags. You could say, oh, look, it's a bear pennant. Look at this, right? See here? See here? We have down, we have, right, this triangle or pennant, bear pennant forming, and usually you go, boom, you break down. But what happened here is that we broke up, right? We broke up and started this massive run from what, 1300 to record breaking run to 4970 on Ethereum. Okay. Bear flag. Boom. We broke down. And what about this? What about this one? What about this one? This was 2024, right? You had the breakdown here, right? If we draw a red line here, and if we draw a rising trend line here, you could call this a bear flag because this is flagpole and here is the flag. We're supposed to, boom, break down. Didn't happen. Went on to a very big run. This is December 2024. Went from what? 2100 to 4100, so 2x on Ethereum. And of course, alts had a massive run. You might remember this was when Trump got elected. Also, like, okay, let me just show you guys one more example. I think you get the idea now. One more example. What about this? What about this? Would you call this a bear flag. This was when Ethereum dropped from its all-time high of $48.70 down to $800 in 2022. In 2022, we had the flagpole, and basically, right, here's the top of the flag, here's the bottom of the flag. Flagpole and flag here, right, with an M shape inside. M shape, like a McDonald's shape, right? Does this look very similar to the Bitcoin chart we are in right now? And then guess what? It went from what, 870, that was the bottom, to 2,000. So it's like 2.5x, right? $800 to 200, right? And in fact, that was the bottom of the bear market. That was it never went lower, bottom of the bear market. So keep in mind, folks, this bear flag, right? This bear flag to this bear flag we're in right now. Right, boom, flagpole. We're making an M shape. We're in the process of making an M shape, like M, like the McDonald's arch, right? Something like this. We could break down, right, to 78K, 79K, and then bounce and go up. Or we may not even break this, right? Stop at around 85, 86 and go up. Or there's also, of course, the very real possibility we could hit 74 or even 65K, right? I'm just showing you guys the different possibilities, right? I could be wrong in all of this, but I at least want to show you guys that's not the only possibility that could happen. And by the way, if we can close here, if we can close like a 90K or even 89.9K here, this would be some sort of doji pattern, right? It's when you have a wick to the upside and wick to the downside, and price ends up the same price you at the close of the bar as you opened it, right? Or even some people, if we went a little bit above, like 90.6, 90.7, some people might even call this a bottoming tail, right? So you've had a long wick here, you've had another wick down here, right? You might have a third one down here, and that could provide a bottom. It's possible. So I'm just saying that there are all these things happening that don't necessarily 100% scream a bear flag. I understand that folks are panicking and folks think this could be a bear flag. I flagged this, no pun intended. I flagged this like 2 or 3 days ago saying, hey, look, this is not a bear flag situation building up, but it doesn't mean it necessarily plays out, right, like a breakdown like this. It doesn't necessarily mean we break down like this, okay? So if it does break down, it could still be just 2K lower, which is not different from my forecast. I said, I think we bottom somewhere around 78, 79, when all the longs here who are built up just under, see how the bottom here was around 80K, and you have a bunch of longs with stops around 78, 79. I think we go there and we take out those longs and then bounce. I've said that for the last 2 weeks now, ever since we made that bottom. Okay, so at least I'm saying keep all these options in mind, right? I still lean towards a 78 to 79K bottom. I'm not saying up or down. I'm saying the option that I think will happen is we get a 78, 79K bottom and we bounce. The big crash down to low 70s or mid 60s is a smaller probability in my mind. Let's have a look at ZCash, ZEC, for example. ZEC is actually doing a classic bear flag. And I think this one will probably play out. Why is that? Because the ZEC bear flag run up has gone too much, and it should not have run up that much, but ZEC went up that much because of all the short squeezes. As you know, if you've been watching Pablo's channel, I've been calling all the short squeezes since 350. Since 350, I said, oh look, it's going much higher. Since it was around here, right? It was around here, 350. I said it's going much higher. So like 5, 6, 700, 80, 800. It went to 750. I said, now double top. Yeah, double top. And here's the neckline of the double top. We break this. I said, we're coming down to, right, the next two supporting lines. Right. First chance to bounce is 371. Second chance to bounce is 300 to 295 area. And we bounced almost exactly off that area and got rejected off this 370, 380K area. Right. Now, yesterday, that was another topping tail close. So, right, we're coming down to test 295. We might wick below. A good chance for a bottom here would be somewhere like 200 area. We may not get there. We'll probably get a big bounce before we even get there. Depends on how Bitcoin behaves, right? But this is a classic bear flag that I think we might do a couple of more bounces, an M shape or even more of an M shape and breakdown. And the reason why I think this has better chance of playing out is because the move after about 200, 300 bucks here, all the way to 750, this entire move was not based on fundamentals, was basically a short squeeze. If you've been watching my videos, if you're in my Discord, I've spoken about this a lot, right? So therefore, all of this did not happen because of fundamentals. So therefore, this breakdown has more of a chance of happening. Now, Bitcoin, on the other hand, right, did not make a crazy move to the upside. It was up at, 108K even back in December 24. Here's 109K. Here's 112K. This is May 25. And, 120, 123, 126K. And boom, right? So in this case, I would say ZCash, has a bigger chance of this bear flag breaking down. And I think some sort of test into low 200s is possible or likely. Whereas Bitcoin, I think either we bounce from here without going to retest 80K, or if we do retest 80K, 78, 79, double bottom and we bounce. And the full breakdown scenario that everyone's worried about, I think that has a smaller chance of happening. And a lot of this is actually depends on the whole MicroStrategy situation, because MicroStrategy is getting kicked out of MSCI, the index which a lot of ETFs basically copies. And when they copy that index, they basically will just buy every stock on that index, right? So that means like billions of dollars coming into MicroStrategy. And if they get delisted, that means like $8 billion or whatever it is will leave MicroStrategy stock. It's just, that's how retarded the market is, but that's how passive index funds investing is. So basically, we don't get a decision on that. Originally, I thought it was December 15th. Now it looks like January 15th. We don't get a decision on that. What could actually happen is, whether it's good news or bad news, Bitcoin actually probably wiggles around, bounces around, and actually bottoms somewhere on January the 15th would be here. Yeah, probably bounces and bottoms on January the 15th, and then that goes up. Because either it's good news and MicroStrategy is not kicked out, or it's actually bad news, but it's been fully anticipated by the market. Everyone's been scared of this news for 2 months, and then it finally happens. So you sell on rumor, buy on news, or the uncertainty. Markets hate uncertainty, where the uncertainty is finally over. And plus, new Fed chairman will be named, Kevin Hassett, the Moon Boy, and a lot of liquidity, rate cuts, and QE will be coming. So I remain positive, and if I change my mind, I don't have to be a bullish guy all the time. If I change my mind, I will certainly let you guys know in my next video. So stay tuned.